going to make this piston now. You can see it there properly. Just type the numbers. I'm not going to go through them all, so you can get the general idea there. We'll better get into it. We're a thou up, that'll do. Okay, now I've got to do what I don't really like to do is shift it out in the chuck. I didn't want to have it all the way out and have more deflection. So it's probably 6 one, half dozen the other, but anyway. Got to take this dimension here down to 280 thou. I've got 30 thou to come off here, so 15 thou side. That was nice of Toby, come out and asked whether I wanted an egg sandwich and go and bring me one. Bloody alright too, he made her himself. You do that more often. So we're 2 thou up on that dimension, 1 thou up. Measure that bastard around there. There's thou. Thou and a half up. I don't think we're going to worry about that. I'm going to cut the O-ring groove here now. So once I touch off, I've got to go in 46 thou. Right, turn that around and clean it up a bit. That was a piece of stainless, that's all I had. There we have the piston. O-ring fits over here in this groove, and then the spring registers onto there, and it just retains the spring on that back portion. And then the little brass finger bit goes on that end. This piece is going to be the piston bushing. Yeah, you get what I mean. Now this bushing is pretty simple, just needs a 3/16 through hole putting through it. What I'd like to do is face that off so it looks better from the, you know, when you're looking at it from the front of the oil can. Just face it off ever so lightly. That'll do. So that's the big hunk of shit in there. That's the bushing for the trigger piston. These marks from the jaws, I'll just clean them up with a file gently. Give that a bit of a lap on the piece of glass and emery, and that'll shine that up and look alright. This bolt here is going to be the bushing for the spout. So got to be 1 inch of thread, and then just got to machine the threads off about 120 thou back from that again. And then that takes an O-ring, seals that spout, and then got to be a through hole, and then spin it around, and a 1/4 inch hole from the head of the bolt back a bit, just so you can Loctite the spout in. I'll be buggered. I put a nut on in there. I thought it was the same size as the head, but it's not. Very, very good. Put a hole through that bastard now, don't I? Forgot about that. Clean that burr up out of there. That part's done. Now I'm going to go a 2mm drill because I have no 1.5mm drills left. And just put up with it. Try and get this through without snapping this bastard. That's it. That's a bit done. That can be Loctited onto the to the spout now. So I'm going to use this piece of hex bar to make the lock nut on the spout. Smile's too big, so I'm going to drill and tap it for 10 by 1.5 and take it over to the mill and reduce the size of the hex down. If I've done my numbers right, I've got to take 1/24 hour off each flat. That'll bring it down to the same size as the nuts that are on or the bolts that are in the oil can. So I'm just going to face it off. Once I get the nut made, I can just I'll bring it back over and part it off on the lathe, and I'll lap it on a piece of glass. That'll get rid of them machining marks. I'll get an 8.5mm drill and drill it and tap it. This lathe's got a jog button on it. Geez, it's bloody handy. When I first got the lathe, I thought, I wonder what good that'll be, you know. And I've actually used it quite often. Break that edge. I'll take it over to the mill now and iron years away. Take it out of the mill now and I'll machine them flats down. Set up over here on the Cincinnati, and the light isn't all that good over in where I'm set up here, so you just have to bear with me. I've made one cut because I forgot to put the camera up. So I'm just going to index this around in the vise. I've got a clamp on the other side set up as a stop. So I'm going to try and take this in one cut, but just slowly. So the camera might shake a bit, I don't know. Let's wait and see what it does. But the table's locked off, so we'll give it a go. Righto. I'm going to have to part this off by hand, by the way, simply because I've run out of parting blades for the tool holder. It doesn't matter. Just cut off with the hacksaw and put it in the mill and clean it up. Okay, I've got to make the button for the trigger. Now this is just all going to be freestyle, this. To whatever I think looks right and is roughly to dimension. So, get into it, eh? I'll take it over to the vice down, I'll cut it off, and I'll have to hold it back in the jaws again, or in a collet, and I'm going to bore the end so I can Loctite onto the piston or the trigger. Just got to face it off, and then I've got a 4mm end mill in the tailstock, and I've got a tiny little boring bar over here. Well, if you can call it that, some wild thing I got given some time ago, just a little bit of high-speed steel a mate gave to me. I'm pretty sure I cut the dovetails with the shaper on the Godswinter holder with it, and it worked. So I'm going to use that and try and just, it's about 4.6mm the diameter of the hole of the trigger. If I'd have been smart, I would have machined it straight to 4mm, but oh well. We'll fix it. Okay, it's come to the time where we can put this thing together. Some O-rings turned up today. I've gone ahead and Loctited the base to the cylinder. I've got it sitting over there in the sun, letting it go off. So we've got a small ball bearing that goes down in the top. Then we've got a tiny spring. Then I used a 6mm cap-head bolt for this one. It's pretty hard to see in there, but it is in there. And I've already gone ahead and put the ball bearing in and give it a hit with a punch just to seat it, yeah, to make a seat out of it. So let's get some Allen keys here. I'll just put a copper washer. It says to use an O-ring, but I used a copper washer in the last one that worked. So it's up tight. Now, this one here, this also has a ball bearing. Sits in the bottom. Okay. Or it just seats in there. Wrong one, dickhead. What am I thinking? That's a trigger one. The pickup. So this is a pickup one. And small ball bearing goes in there. And I'm going to give that one another punch with a hammer. And another hit with a punch. Just to make 100% sure it has got a decent seat, so I'll be back. Right, so I've gave that another good hit with a hammer. A copper washer again. one goes in the bottom, but leave the ball bearing out for now. I've also Loctited the pickup in this one too. It's about 50mm long. Right, spanner ding dong. One's up tight. So now the rest is done when it's actually in the cylinder. Okay, so here we got the cylinder. I have given it a bit of a polish. It's not brand, but what I've done with this is I used a bit of Loctite flange sealant and put a little bead around the very bottom, and then ran Loctite and obviously Loctited it all in. So I get that little bit of Loctite off there too. It's just annoying me. But like, there's no need to polish it. It's going to get scratched to the shit house as it is. Which it already is starting to get scratched. But I just done it for a bit of fun. There is a scratch on here. I just done that. It pissed me off too. But there is some other marks in it, which, like I say, it's going to get marked up. Right, we've got to put the trigger and that in here, the body in. So, just a fibre washer. It's a bit of a balancing act, this is. Now I did leave these in overnight, so they did get already, like, have a curve already in them. It's been a bit of a pain in the arse. Hopefully that might have got it. Slip one in from the top. Apologise, my hands are getting in the way, but not having much luck here. Okay, that's in there. Now I just drop an O-ring down in there. Makes it's a little tiny one. And what that one does, that seals the spout. If I keep everything sitting there without dropping every bloody thing. So that one gets done up. So I haven't Loctited that in yet either. So you just do that one up till you feel it touch the O-ring. Squash it a bit. And then do this one up, the lock nut, which locks the body against the and stops any leaks. You know what I mean. Okay, now for the trigger. We roll the ball bearing down there and hope he's in place. Use the pre-made oil can. Put a 01L on there. Place a second O-ring. On there like that. Then this has a spring. which that's just a cheap hardware assortment pack of springs. Let me put the flange on. And I did have another copper washer here. Who stole that? I better grab another one. It's just an assortment, cheap eBay assortment pack of copper washers, which is, I've used these so many times. Okay, this should slip into there nice and gently. I have to let this one go to let it all line up. Gently do that one up. And do this one back up. Worked out well. Okay, now better Loctite that sucker. Loctite this spout in. These arm and hose. Shitty bit of rag. Wipe up 3 litres of Loctite that I didn't need. You can see how much easier it marks just by holding it. You mark it. Yeah, the ultimate would be out of mirror stainless. Would be the ultimate material. Now we've got to Loctite the button on.
Little bloody things.
And of course that had to bind, didn't it? Well, I fixed that, it just didn't like the copper washer being in there. I don't know why, got no idea why. Anyway, it's not going to get one. So, all there is left to do now is put the lid on. There we have our oil can. Pretty snazzy looking bit of gear, isn't it? I've cut a gasket for here, just out of a piece of gasket paper, and just put 4 dobs of super glue on. Stuck it down. So I'm going to use, put a bit of ISO 68 in this one. What I've done too is I've taken the cap off, or this hole here. So, oh shit, that one there, right? And I'll just tip it over that, and that'll help it prime. That'll do it. Just got to get out of that threaded hole. So now we can put the lid, put that cap back in. Oh no! Did you see that? I'll be back. Well, I fished that back out of the oil and I put it in. It's nice and tight. Screw the lid down now. Okay, now the test is an old shitty tin of crap here. It works. There we go. Don't waste too much oil. But that works. Well, there we have the completed article. 2 oil cans to add to the collection of tools. They were really fun to build. Both of them were. And to end up with a good usable tool in the end is a big bonus. They're nice and sturdy and they feel good to use too. Actually, they do really feel good in the hand. Glenn from Man Cave Metals got me onto these ones. These are goldenrod, made in USA, in Nebraska. I got them off of Amazon Australia. Fairly pricey. And I thought I needed more oil cans. So I thought I'd make some. And this little, I've got this one here. It's become like an oil can heaven here. Got this one here, but every time you can wipe it all down with brake cleaner, you stick it down, come to the next day and there's a friggin' puddle of water under it, or puddle of oil under it. Yeah, it just leaks. I don't know where the hell it comes from. It just leaches out. It's a real... Can you go and turf in the bin or put something that's... I don't know. Don't know what to do with that one yet. This one doesn't leak. I've got whey oil in this one. But I think I'll make one of these into the whey oil. It'd be nice to use one that I've made. And one for whey oil and put cutting oil in the other one. I've just got to make the button for this one. But there we go. They are a really fun project to do. And they're not... I'll be dead set honest with you here. What it cost me to make this was... I bought a bag of 144 ball bearings off eBay, 3/16. I paid, I think it was $12 or $13 from they use it for bicycle repairs. And I bought some brass, 1/4 inch brass tube. I bought 900 mil of that, and I bought for the pickup 300 mil lengths. It was just in a pack. That was, I think for the quarter was something like $14 and about $9 or $10 for the small 4 mil stuff. So all up, it was under, under $30. And I've still got heaps more material left over to make more. The aluminium cost me nothing. That was just out of a scrap bin. So really, I've got 2 good oil cans for less than $10 each. So that to me is a pretty good success, especially for a hobby workshop where you don't want to be spending a lot of money. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this build. I thoroughly enjoyed making it, or making them both. It was great to get on the new lathe, and yeah, I had a good time. So thanks very much for joining me. And I've got no idea what the next project's going to be now. So, righto guys, stay safe out there, and see you on the next video. Alright.